Hello again, everyone. Now, if you remember back that far in the last lesson, we constructed the necessary environment so that we can prepare an Angular project. So now in this lesson, we're going to take you through step by step and create our very first Angular project. All right, so now let's have a look at the Angular CLI page. Remember, we installed the Angular CLI via NPM. So now we're going to create a new project by running the code here. So it gives us this information. And when we look at the documentation section, you can see that we can confirm the explanation of the codes that we'll use. For example, when we say ng help, it gives us a list of commands that we can use. We can also see that you can create a new project just by saying ng new. And we'll write the name of our project. In fact, we can say that the documentation section is pretty helpful. So my suggestion is that if you have any trouble with commands, you can always review it here. Pretty simple to pull up, so you don't really have to rely on your memory, but you'll get them. Right? No stress. So we'll use these commands now for our very first project. So I'll open the command line and run our code. So here I'll just specify where to create the project. So for this, I'll write cd desktop. So I'll switch to the desktop, and now I'm running the ng help command. Just as I showed you earlier, and we can see the commands, their definitions. So we already know that we can create a new project with a new command. So I'm writing ng new. And for the name of our application, just first project. So when we run our command, it asks some questions. So the question is whether we want to create a routing structure or not. You might not know, so it asks whether we will use more than one page structure in my project. So I'm just going to say no for now. All right, so it asks for the style template that we're going to use, like CSS, SCSS, SAS. I'll choose CSS and enter. Now what you're seeing here is all the required modules are loaded for us. All right, so this process may take a while, don't worry about that. But here you can see installation is complete. So now I'm just running the cd first project command, and we can go to our project if you're following along with me. So now we're going to start the server by saying ng serve. But I want to continue with the code editor that we set up in the last lesson. So for this, I'm running the code command. So we'll switch to Visual Studio Code Editor. As you can see, our project was opened in Visual Studio Code. So look here. We can see all the modules that we've created. But in this particular lesson, I'm not going to get into the explanation. We'll do that in the next lesson anyway. I just want to show you something. So let's run our project. Now we can continue by writing code through the terminal. So here I'll open up a new terminal page just by saying terminal new. And now we can continue our code in here. And I can run ng serve as my command to start this server. But look, our code didn't work, and I get an error. I just wanted to show you the solution so that you can know it as well when you make that mistake, because it'll happen. So see, look here, the file that we want to run cannot be compiled, right? So to solve it, I'll click on Settings from the Manage section below, And then I click on Extensions and then JSON. Now from here, I click Exit in setting.json. Now I'll add this code that I shared with you and save it. And I'll close it, reopen Visual Studio, and now I'm running ng-serve code again. And our code has begun to compile. Okay, so look, finally here, our first project has been successfully compiled. Cool. So as you can see, how do we get to our project at localhost port 4200? Just right here. So what I'll do is I'll copy this address and paste this into the address bar of my browser. How's that? So here is the very first project that we've created. And what we did was created the default Angular structure. All right? So yes, my friends, you can see in this lesson that we have now seen how to create a new project for Angular. We've also run the first project that we created on the server. Now, we haven't done any code reviews so far or anything else, so obviously it's pretty simple. So in our next lesson, we're going to talk about the application structure in Angular and what to do with it. I'll see you then.